Hey, I have something I want to share with you. Hey, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. I watched this lady's little series of TikTok videos a few months ago, but for some reason it popped up into my head this morning. And I was thinking about the Idaho Four Case and the genealogical testing, and it turns out this lady's story is exactly the way that I remembered it, and it kind of gives us a breakdown of the processes that are in place on the opposite side when it comes to the person's information that is needed. So I'm going to place her TikTok information on the screen, because if I place the link directly to her profile, this video will have algorithmic problems on YouTube, because whenever I have an issue with a TikTok link in my description box, my video will go under review. If I delete it and re-upload and do not have the TikTok link in my description box, it automatically just goes through with no problems. So again, if you want to listen to the entire story of this cold case DNA match little situation, you can go to her profile on TikTok and watch all of the videos, but I just pulled the important pieces. Now, I want you to keep in mind, this is about the genealogical testing that we are hearing and haven't actually heard anything about was done, and a very small family tree was found with a very specific name that led them to Bryan Kohberger. So again, once I start playing this, you're going to understand exactly why. I'm just going to go ahead and let you hear.
Last week, I was contacted by the San Diego Cold Case Homicide Department, and they're investigating a 1986 cold case murder that involves a Jane Doe, and they still have not been able to figure out who she is. No one ever reported her missing. They contacted me because they believed my DNA was a possible match to hers. I think they said 3 years they've been working on it, and they said my DNA was the closest match to hers that they've gotten in a year. So we don't know which side of the family she's from, but they think that she's from my mom's Jaliscan side of the family because she also has Jaliscan roots. So now I have to send in my mom's DNA data. If that doesn't work out, then I have to send in my dad's DNA data, and we'll go from there.
So this makes it sound sort of as if the police just have open access to your DNA results that you do on any of these websites, and they can do whatever they want to it. And that's been what a lot of people do believe. Now, she later laid out exactly how the process works. I'm going to go ahead and play that now.
The detectives wanted me to share with all of you. There's a misconception that when the detectives contact you, that you are opening up your Ancestry, your 23andMe, and showing them, everything, which is not the case. I uploaded my DNA data into GEDmatch. It's just a bunch of numbers, and they can basically cross-reference my DNA data with their system if you allow it to, if you leave it open for police to view it. You basically have to download it yourself and allow the police to be able to look at it. You can also download it to GEDmatch and turn off the feature that allows the police to look at your DNA data.
So when you have all the details to the story, you know that there's multiple family members that have given DNA to do cross-referencing in order for them to match down to exactly the information that the police need to solve this Jane Doe's cold case. But for this specific story, it was a cousin that was already in the database that they had matched to Jane Doe, and from that cousin's information, the homicide detectives received other family members' names that they then reached out to and asked them if they could use their DNA to cross-reference it to Jane Doe's DNA. And instead of them just going in and getting the information from Ancestry.com or 23andMe or wherever, they received approval from this person, this civilian, and she then went in and she downloaded her DNA results, took them and placed them onto a separate portal called GEDmatch. And in GEDmatch, you can even still choose to not allow anyone else to see your results. But if you choose to have it opened, then the police can go in, pull your markers, and compare them to DNA that they need information about. So even though this is an active case, we are hearing that a cold case lab helped them do some of this DNA matching that was needed in order for them to find their suspect. So I'm wondering if somebody received a phone call. I wonder if that somebody was asked for their DNA and they personally went in and downloaded their information and placed it into GEDmatch themselves. Or was there a warrant served to get this person's information? Because I'm pretty positive that if the police are really, really sure that something you have is something that they need, they can show probable cause to obtain it with a warrant in one way or another. And I have seen DNA be forcibly taken, and in not just in criminal cases, in civil cases too. The world knows that the Pennsylvania trash can DNA is Michael Kohberger's. So there would be no reason to be trying to file this as secretive and under all these protections to protect this genealogical informant if this was the same situation, if this was about Michael Kohberger. So just that in itself tells me that it's not, and tells me that it is the original genealogical testing that we've all been questioning for months now. In a real world that works correctly, you would also assume that they took the DNA from the Pennsylvania trash can and also DNA matched it to the genealogical information. We should actually see documentation on all of that if any of it does get released, because this is the stuff that the state is trying to file a motion to have excluded as evidence. But then all of this talk about the genealogical testing, it still brings back something that we heard in the very beginning of this case that didn't even sound right to me from the beginning, because we already heard about this guy's background. And if this was something that he had been planning on doing, this rumor would have just added on to the dumbassery of this entire thing. Because from the beginning, we heard rumors that Bryan Kohberger apparently told one of his neighbors in Pullman that he had recently done like an ancestry test. Well, why would you put information onto an ancestry website with your DNA all over it if you knew that you were planning on doing something real stupid soon? But I just wanted you guys to listen to this from this person's point of view, because she kind of went through something that we're trying to figure out. And have you guys heard this story before? Because in her TikTok, she mentions like Daily Mail and the New York Post and a couple of news stations were doing a story on this too. So some of you might have actually seen her face before. But I want to know what you guys think about these details whenever we compare it to what we're trying to figure out in the Idaho case. Okay? See y'all.